Yo, what's up guys, AJC here, and in today's video we are going to be talking about Jake Paul backstabbing Logan Paul for clout. But you're going to want to watch till the end because a certain pro boxer reveals the biggest difference between Jake and Logan Paul in regards to boxing. But before we get into it, first off, if you want more videos on the Jake Paul and Logan Paul topic, make sure you like this video, and if we can hit 7k likes, I'll make a part 2 to this series as soon as possible. Also, if you want more YouTube news like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel, hit that red button down below. But besides that, let's get straight into today's video. So as we all know, Jake Paul this last month has single-handedly trash-talked every single fighter on the planet, calling out big names such as Dylan Dennis, Ben Askren, who he will be fighting on later on this year, and one of the best strikers in UFC history, Conor McGregor. However, what slipped a lot of people's radar is that Jake decided to call out his own brother Logan Paul. As we all know, Logan is set to fight Floyd Mayweather later on this year, and Jake Paul, when asked about his brother and his fighting capabilities, had this to say about the whole topic.
My brother's it's bad for the sport. I think it's just for clout. You know, my brother's a fake fighter. I'm the real fighter. He's 0-1-1. I'm 3-0. But you know, I wish him the best of luck. I just don't get in there with the guy who has never even been knocked down. He's been knocked down once, and it was by accident.
So it's funny how Jake Paul says that what Logan Paul is doing is bad for the sport when he is doing the exact same thing, and says Logan is doing this whole fight for clout. Jake, aren't you trying to do the same thing as well? He's trying to claim that he's a real fighter, yet no real fighter has respect for him in the boxing ring. There's a reason why Dana White despises what he does, and also Conor not responding to your fight offer shows just how much Conor really cares about fighting Jake Paul. Also, Jake needs to really stop flexing his 3-0 boxing record when they weren't even against real fighters. Jake Paul has handpicked the easiest opponents to verse in the ring because he is trying to take the easy win, and secondly, real fighters don't want to fight you because they just don't respect him. There was a reason Logan got a fight with Floyd, and Jake is still struggling to land Conor McGregor. But Logan Paul in his podcast responded to his brother on calling him out, and here's what he had to say.
My brother said I'm a fake boxer. That's crazy.
Was that real or was that like?
Yeah, what was it? Why did he say that?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know. I don't know. And
What do you feel like? What do you say to that?
I kind of no, bro. I'm like, all right, like little brother's up to some, like he wants to get some attention for a sec, like go for it. But I fully support Jake. In whatever drama he wants to stir or create, like it really doesn't bother me. Like, oh, you're a fake boxer. Like, okay, let's box, because Jake is a kid that gets beat up by my sparring partners. That's that kid. So, real boxer, fake boxer, and also I've become like rubber sheet metal, dude. In this fight, everyone's saying a lot of things for good reason. I'm fighting Floyd Mayweather. Yep. And so I've literally become immune to everything. I've heard it all. I've seen all the memes. I'm screenshotting them. I'm gonna make a video out of them. Fully aware of what the boxing heads, even like my brother, thinks about this fight. I don't know where it stems from with him. It could be just to continue the narrative of like Jake Paul, Logan Paul, which I like.
So from first glance, it seems that Logan isn't taking it too personally because he knows it's his brother. He might just be doing it for attention or just another story to be written up about them. But what was interesting to hear was when Logan exposed that Jake Paul gets beaten up by Logan's sparring partners, which not only makes Jake look bad, but if you didn't know, Jake has been talking his mouth saying he beats his sparring partners easily, yet hasn't shown any footage of him backing up these statements. So although Logan doesn't seem too offended by Jake's statement, I think there's some sort of brotherly rivalry behind the scenes, and Logan wants to put his little bro in place. But Jake and Logan have tossed up the idea if they would ever fight each other, and here's what they had to say.
Look, dude, people have been trying to pit us against each other for ages, and no one is in the position that we're in, where we're both becoming experts and professionals at a combat sport capable of selling out some of the biggest venues in the world. We're both doing it at the same time, at the same level, fighting different opponents, making the same amount of noise. Do you think a fight between you and I could ever happen?
Yeah, I think it would be one of the biggest things to ever happen. Like, I think it's bigger than the Klitschko brothers. Culturally, because of the diss tracks, because of our past, because of the audience, because of the storyline.
And you think you'd win?
I know I would win. I mean, you've been podcasting for a year. I've been training. Like, a lot of the audience, stupid. I mean, on the poll,
think so, Jake.
Not our audience.
I don't think so, brother.
On the poll, it said 80% Logan, 20%
I know,
Jake.
I just think
where does the delusional become from? Because you have bigger biceps. Like, what?
Jake,
that doesn't
Jake,
muscle doesn't
Jake.
fight at the end of the day,
Jake,
and you
I
never
move
even want to
different.
fight. What do you mean you move different? You never want to fight,
and you won one.
The poll should at least be like 60-40.
That poll really got to your head, huh?
Yeah,
the poll should be 60-40.
I'm gonna be honest with you.
The poll should be 60-40.
The poll will never change.
That's what I'm saying.
It'll never change.
It's because they want you to win.
You'll always be the little brother.
Oh, yeah. Look at you.
So it seems that a fight may happen down the line or maybe even in the near future. It seems that Jake Paul has something to prove and Logan Paul is looking to show Jake who is the big brother. Now there were countless interviews I can show you guys of Paul brothers getting asked about fighting each other and they always said yes and each of them thinks they can knock the other person out. But I'm not going to show you that, but let's just say there were like 5 or 6 interviews on the same thing. But pro boxer Mike Tyson gave his opinion on the biggest difference between Jake and Logan Paul, so here's what he had to say.
This stuff is getting better because of motherfuckers like Jake Paul and making boxing better.
Yeah.
And that's just keeping it real. I know they're blonde, they're white, but look what they're doing to the sport.
Agreed.
They're making it beautiful. Because everybody, and he's a big hit because everybody want to, I don't care who, the white, black, everybody want to beat that blue-eyed, blonde-haired motherfucker ass.
Pretty good though, isn't he? For only
Yeah.
training for 3 years.
I think he was slightly insane.
Jake?
There's no doubt. What's the
yeah.
one that knocked out Nate?
That's Jake.
He's got some
I think they call him the problem child.
No, but he's something wrong with him. But
No, I
it's good. Bad it's
Agree.
good shit, you know what I mean?
If he can channel that,
Yeah, it's
harness
good
it, yeah,
shit,
he's
but
a
it's
bad
some
motherfucker.
dark shit.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
There's a darkness with Jake. Logan's a little more smart, business-minded.
Yes.
Yeah.
This guy, the other guy's beautiful. He's awesome.
So it's surprising to hear this, but it seems that Mike Tyson is a fan of Jake Paul and not just a normal fan, but seems to prefer Jake over Logan, saying he's a good kind of crazy you need in boxing. I think it surprised a lot of people that Mike said this, as Tyson is one of the greatest boxers ever, and for him to show respect in this way to Jake, maybe we gotta give the kid some respect. Now although Jake loves to talk about him being a better boxer than Logan because of his record of a 1 loss against KSI, KSI and Jake Paul's trainer went at it in an interview to prove who's the better boxer, so this is what happened.
Your team, Paul. We happen to be Team KSI.
Sure.
You got any footage of his sparring that we can take a look at?
No, not for you. I have footage, but not for you.
How does the kid look, honestly?
He looks great. Great enough to beat the out of KSI.
Well, okay, look at since you said that, we're gonna let you make the prediction. What round do you think KSI knocks him out in?
What round do I think Jake will knock out KSI? 4th round.
JJ can do this part-time and still beat him.
Sounds good. Coming from you, the guy that won't be fighting. So yeah, sure.
But at the end of the day, JJ has more established. He's fought better guys than
Beat his big brother. Beat him.
Jake,
That's for real.
Jake is the better fighter out of the big brothers. So you didn't do anything.
That's going to be the pinnacle. That's going to be the Ali Frazier. Do you agree?
No, it's definitely the biggest fight to be made in this thing right now.
So this was a very tense and awkward interview and it looked like they were going to start throwing hands at each other, but in regards to who would win, I think KSI would. Don't get me wrong, Jake has put in the work and he knows how to box, but I think he thinks that he is better than he actually is. Yes, you can call it confidence, but there comes a point where it's just completely delusional, and I feel like that's what would happen between Jake and KSI. Jake called out Conor McGregor, and I don't think you understand how crazy you have to be to think you can take him on, but KSI also had this to say about the potential of Jake and Conor McGregor actually fighting.
What I've realized in this world is that anything can happen, man. 1 minute I'm like, that can never happen, and then it happens. So I'm there like, you know what? You never know, but I highly doubt that it's gonna happen. I don't know, I just think it's a bit of an L for Conor if he takes that fight. You really don't need to do that. If Conor wins, it's like big whoop. You beat Jake, like that's not a big deal. And if Conor loses, then then that's just then I don't want to know what that timeline looks like. But yeah, I just don't think Conor's gonna fight Jake or even acknowledge him. He still hasn't acknowledged him. So I mean that says it all. And it's so cringe. Jake has been trying so hard, cussing out his wife and all of this, and just following his wife. Blah 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 blah. Come on, man, it's Conor. Come on, man's done these games. He knows.
KSI makes a great point here that although how dumb it sounds that Jake will get a fight with Conor, we really can't rule it out. Logan got a fight with Floyd, and I think no one ever expected that in a million years. But we'll have to see what happens, so let me know down in the comments what you think. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you soon.